Hey guys, so I just wanted to do a little work and chat video today where you'll see me working on one of my current kids books, one of my clients' current kids books, um, and just doing a few of those pages, doing the lines for a few of those pages. And what I wanted to talk about is how I basically overcame my crippling fear of showing people my work. I was terrified for a long time of showing anyone the art that I was doing for a lot of reasons, and I guess no good reasons at all the whole time. I started doing art. I started doing art when I started drawing when I was, I think, in middle school is when I started seriously drawing because I got into watching like various cartoons and I wanted to be able to tell stories in that way, make my own characters, and draw my own animations essentially, and just draw all of my own stuff. And so I started drawing, and I honestly cannot remember a time when I was okay with showing people my drawings. I mean, maybe when I was a really little kid and I was just doing like random little silly drawings, I probably didn't care. But as soon as I started doing drawings of my own characters and my own scenes and whatever, I did not show anyone because I guess I was just terrified of somebody telling me that it wasn't good. I didn't want to hear what people had to say, like that I needed to change because that meant, right? That meant that it's not good, right? So I just didn't want to show anybody my work. I wanted to be really good, and but I didn't want to hear anybody tell me how I could be better. So that was tough. Instead, I would just look at other people's art and try to figure out what I liked about that art and then incorporate it into mine. And without showing anybody my progress, without accepting any critiques, without doing any of that stuff. And this lasted all the way, well, for many years, honestly, definitely through high school. And I had sketchbooks. It wasn't a secret that I liked to draw. I would bring sketchbooks with me to school. I was always constantly doodling in my planners, in my notebooks, in on my homework, and then I would have to erase it because I'm like, why the heck did I just draw a picture on my homework? I have to turn that in. Like, that was really dumb. So I would just keep it all secret. I would hunch over my desk while I was drawing, or I would keep the sketchbook like in my lap and draw, or I would like use my arm to block it. It was kind of ridiculous how secretive I was, and I wouldn't let anyone touch my sketchbooks or my notebooks, or any paper of mine, honestly, because I was terrified they would see one of my drawings and think, oh man, she's a terrible artist. Basically, my dream was to just suddenly, someday, somehow, become an amazing artist, and then I show everyone. And then they'll just magically think that I was always like this. They'll never see the process, they'll never see any of my bad drawings, and it'll be like I'm just this perfect artist. Which is silly. I mean, that's just absolutely silly, especially now because I like looking back at the progress that I've made and I want to share that progress with people because, I mean, that makes you a lot more relatable and it helps people see that, yeah, you may not be the most amazing right now, but you can certainly get so much better. So this is how I felt all the way through high school and into college. And for the first 2 years of college, I wasn't in an art degree, but then I decided to start taking some art classes. And basically, I mean, in art class, I wanted to learn what they had to teach me, but I was still terrified of showing my work. I wanted so badly, and this is where like my own mental, I guess, like shortcomings, I don't know, come in. I was extremely competitive in sports, in art, in a lot of stuff. Very competitive. I would get jealous if I noticed that I thought somebody was better than me. And this is a terrible way to feel. I did not like feeling this way, but I did feel this way. It's just the truth. And I it sucked. It just really sucked. And I wanted so badly to feel less afraid and less competitive and less jealous. Not jealous at all. I don't want to feel that at all. Um, so I decided that, okay, I'm going to take these art classes and I'm going to start taking myself and my art seriously. And I'm going to put myself in a situation where I have no choice but to share my work and to compare it to other people right sitting right next to me, and submit myself to their criticism, constructive or not, just to hear what they have to say and to learn from a teacher. And I was even terrified of sharing it with a teacher. But you don't really have a choice in class, right? You have to share it. So I put myself in that situation to force myself to share my work, to show what I was doing. And I didn't have I didn't have a huge problem for a long time, or it got better very quickly, with sharing things like still life drawings, and even figure drawing. I was kind of okay with sharing. I wasn't as nervous about it, but I was more nervous about the figure drawing than I was like the still life drawing. I think that has to do with the fact that I wasn't as interested in the still life drawing. I was much more interested in characters and figure and stuff like that. I wanted to be really good at that. And the things that I wanted to be really good at are the things that I was most terrified to show. So I was okay with a lot of aspects of the art classes and what I was showing. But as soon as we got to figure drawing, and this was a few years later, once I I ended up going to a different school for animation, and we had to do figure drawing and stuff. And again, I was glad that I was forcing myself to share with people my work, but it was pretty rough. It was hard to share it because I wanted so badly still to be the best in the class. And I was still feeling that fear and that competitiveness and a bit of that jealousy. And I knew that this was like a years long process, guys, to work on this and remove those feelings from my life. But also at this school, I had to do something even more terrifying. I keep saying terrifying, but even more nerve wracking than figure drawing. And that was designing my own characters and my own stories and drawing them and sharing them with the class. Now that was the absolute worst. Because I felt such a connection to my characters, and I wanted them so badly to be perfect. I wanted people to look at my characters and be like, "Oh my gosh, this is the next big thing right here. I want to see where this story." I wanted it to be amazing. And I knew I wasn't there yet. So showing people this not not amazing thing, this okay thing, like I wasn't terrible, but not amazing, was really, really hard. And seeing people's reactions, especially when it wasn't the exact reaction that I wanted, was really, really hard. But again, I was in this situation where I was forced to share. I was forced to tell the stories. I was forced to share my characters. And that was good for me. And I knew deep down that that was good for me. And something else that really, really helped me was a lot of self reflection. I met a lot of people in art school who could not take criticism, could not take constructive criticism. They couldn't handle anybody saying anything about their work that wasn't just, "Oh, this is amazing and perfect." And I realized that that was exactly what I was doing. That's exactly how I felt. And I didn't want to feel that way or act that way anymore. And by seeing these reactions in other people, when I would give I mean, I learned how to give very constructive criticism, and that was very helpful to me because then I could hear it from other people and understand that it was constructive. It wasn't meant to tear me down. It wasn't meant to make me feel bad. It was meant to help me. But I saw so many other people and met so many other people that couldn't take any kind of instruction. And I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be like that. I wanted to be able to improve and hear what other people had to say and not feel terrible about it. And I wanted to be able to understand, when is something constructive and when is it just being mean. When is it a good thing to make a change and when is it, well, not actually going to help your style or whatever. Now, style, that's a that's a whole other thing. That was usually the excuse that many people would give for something that was maybe not great. They would say, well, it's my style. It's like, yes, but, well, I could get into a whole thing about that, but it is at least worth looking at. If somebody has something constructive to say, then it's at least worth examining and looking at and attempting to be objective about it in your own work. And these are all things that I learned by the many, many critiques that we had in class, and all the work that I had to show that I didn't want to show. And eventually, I did start getting a lot more comfortable with showing my work. And surprise, surprise, I got better because I was showing so much more of my stuff and I was getting feedback from people who could see things that I couldn't see because I had been staring at it for hours. And it helped a lot, and it helped me really just explore different ways to draw as well. It helped me think about things differently, even though I still had a crazy amount of anxiety about it. I was finally feeling less competitive and less jealous, and that was good. I was moving in the right direction. It was still terrifying, but I was very slowly letting go of my pride and just in it because I wanted to, like, I love creating. I love creating stories and characters and drawing and writing, well, not maybe writing a whole book or anything, but writing the outline. And I knew this is what I wanted to do, and I needed this. I needed to experience this. Oh, and one of the other things that I did as well when I was younger, like in high school, I did start a DeviantArt account forever ago that I had a different name to. It wasn't my name, and I would upload stuff, and I kind of gained a little bit of confidence there as well because nobody knew who I was, but people liked my stuff. And even if it was just a few people liked it, and that gave me just little boosts of confidence. And I think that helped me a little bit too, really early on, but I still had so much growing to do, so much work to do on myself. And I guess, like, overall, my final bits of advice would be to put yourself, if you're experiencing this, if you're having trouble, put yourself in positions like I did where you don't have a choice but to show your work. That can be terrifying, again, terrifying, but it is only going to help you. It's going to help you realize that this isn't the end of the world, okay? You can show other people this stuff. You will hear other people say things that you may not like about your work, but the more you hear it and the more you hear the good stuff, the better you will feel, the more confident you will feel. I mean, put your work up there and then, I guess, almost in a way, forget that it's yours. Forget that it's yours and just be open to hearing what other people have to say. You have to be willing to listen to their critiques. And there is a learning process as well with figuring out, is this a valid critique or is this, just somebody being mean? But it's always worth listening to and then figuring out, okay, so that was, they were just being rude. Or, okay, actually, that's a really good point. I should probably do something about that, like get better at this thing. And just always keep in mind that there will always be someone who doesn't like your work. And that was really rough for me. That was hard for me to accept. But You will never be liked by everyone. Your art will never be liked by everyone. There will always be someone who has something to say about how you could do something better, how something is in there that they didn't like, or whatever. That will always happen. So just accept that right now and get that out of the way. And just always be willing to learn and grow. Don't let yourself get stuck in a rut with this, oh, this is my style and this is what I'm going to stick with. Let yourself be open to learning new ways of doing things, making things better. There will always be improvement to be made. I mean, it's always there. You can always find another way, or more ways to make your art even more amazing, or whatever you're doing. But yeah, basically to finish this up, after all of these years of school, I was still embarrassed to show some of my work. Sometimes that would still strike me sometimes, but I I had definitely grown a lot. And then over the next few years, being out of school, doing art, people outside of art school seeing my stuff and like being okay with showing it, I I just eventually finally got to the point where I'm like, I like what I'm doing. I like that I'm learning and growing. I may not always love the piece that I made. There will always be issues with it, and I am very critical of my own work, but I try to be critical in a very positive way, in a very like I'm helping myself grow kind of way. So when people say I'm too harsh on myself, I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm just trying to always, get better. And it doesn't mean I don't like some of the things that I've made. I like them all for the learning experience. Yeah, it just eventually I did get to the point where I was able to post my work and be like, look, I am ready for people to hire me. Was I actually ready? I once again put myself in a situation where if somebody talked to me and somebody wanted to hire me, I didn't have a choice. I was going to do the job, right? I put myself out there. I can't just take the job and not do it, right? I have to do it. And again, that helped me. It helped me realize, look, so I did my first job and I was like, okay, I can do this. I know I can do this. I mean, I even took a job drawing in front of people live, and that was a huge thing for me. But yeah, you just have to put yourself in those situations. You can do it. You don't be so afraid. All of you guys out there who like, especially young people who are just completely open with sharing their sketchbooks and sharing all of their work and are just like, oh yeah, I just love drawing and I have no fear. Here, please look at this. You are amazing. I was so not like you, and I wish I had been more like you. I have a few people in my life that are like that, and they bring their sketchbooks to me and they show me, and I'm just like, you are so brave. Like, I'm so inspired by you. But yeah, that was just my journey. Just letting you guys know that just because I am a professional now does not mean that I always acted professionally. It doesn't mean that I always believed in myself. I was not always open with sharing my work. And if you can avoid taking as long as I have to get here, then do it. Lose your pride, guys, and just you will feel better. You will lose this extra weight on your shoulders. I am telling you. But anyway, if you liked this, please give it a like, comment. If you have any issues like this, if you feel this way about your work, and if you hide who you are online or just don't show anyone your work, and you want to be an artist, if you want to be an artist and don't show your work, you're going to have to address this someday. But please leave a like and a comment if you got any value from this. Subscribe if you're interested in seeing more of what I make. I have a lot of cool things planned, just not a whole lot of time at the moment because I am working a lot. But thank you so much for watching and listening, and I hope you guys have a great day. And look out for these books coming out, hopefully late summer.
Bye.